All right, I got the afternoon hair going on today. We are live from Fly on the Wall Productions, North Main Street in Barrie. Thank you to our new sponsor, Vermont Concrete Cutting. You're going to be hearing a whole lot of chatter about those guys and gals over there in the month of May and June and July. But we are so excited to have them on board now. So let's jump in. It is May 1st, as you heard us chatting this morning, Foster Care Month. And this is a national, is this a national? It is national. I thought it was. Erin Joslin is with us right now from Washington County Mental Health. Nice to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you and your time and everything you do, which, frankly, I can only imagine what it is that you do in a typical day. But you run the therapeutic foster care program through Washington County Mental Health.
Yes. Yep.
Is there one of you?
There's one of me. Yes.
My gosh. I mean, there should be like maybe 5 or 6.
Well, we have a pretty small program right now, though we're hoping to expand that. But as of right now, there's just one of me.
All right. So you are just Washington County Mental Health for foster.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
What's the state of the state when it comes to foster needs right now?
Through Washington County or overall?
Well, let's say overall first, and then we'll talk about Washington County.
I think, it's probably the same answer for both, is that we have some really amazing foster parents who are incredibly dedicated to the kids that we serve, and we could use a lot more of them.
How many kids do we have that are waiting for a home?
So that I don't know the answer to,
Okay.
because my role is really just through Washington County Mental Health. I don't have the numbers from on a state level.
Yeah.
I would say I get inquiries pretty often for our homes, for our therapeutic homes, but we don't. Basically, my answer recently has been we don't have any homes available right now, so I don't really have like a comprehensive list of kids who are waiting for our home specifically.
I know statewide we're always hearing that there are many, many, many children who need some structure and need some parenting.
Yeah.
Even if it's on a temporary basis, they just need some stability in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you have to? How do you qualify for something like this? Watching, listening right now. And you're thinking, maybe you're on the fence, and you're thinking, maybe this is something that we could do, but maybe not. What do you need to do?
So the basic qualifications are that you have to be at least 21 years old.
Okay.
You have to be able to pass criminal background checks, so fingerprint supported background checks, DMV checks, those types of thing. And then from there, what we do is we have an application process. We do home studies, or when I say we, I mean I go into homes and really meet people and get to know them. And you basically just sort of have to have a certain level of time to commit, sort of like you would if you were having a biological child.
Sure.
And so the other thing that we really ask for is willingness to work as part of a team, because that is really our model in the therapeutic foster care program. We work with kids who have typically a little bit higher needs than sort of your average foster kid, I would say, which is sort of an oxymoron. But and so we have a real team approach where every youth that's in our program is assigned a therapeutic case manager through our program, who provides fantastic support to the caregivers as well as the children and help coordinate their services. And so that's the other thing I think is really important to us, is you kind of have to be willing to work as a part of a team.
Yeah, and that involves communication, be it written, email, telephone. You've got to be engaged.
Yeah, absolutely. And we, in our program, we do require some level of home visits, or weekly at least check-ins with the case manager, and at least monthly in the home visits.
Sure.
So that we can just make sure everything's going well for everybody in the home.
Going to school, getting involved with sports or any kind of extracurricular activity, there's a lot that's involved here. This is not something where you can just sit back and coast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same as being any other parent with an added level of, there is team meetings and things like that. But we also really could use respite providers, which we at Washington County, because of the therapeutic level of care that we provide, all of our homes, even our respite homes, go through the same approval process. So we would approve someone in the same way if they wanted to just provide respite. And respite providers are invaluable to our foster parents because it allows them to take a break sometimes, which is really needed. And it's great for the kids, too, to be able to have relationships with other people. So, if people are hearing this and thinking, I don't know that we can do that full time, even if you have a weekend a month where you could provide some respite care for one of our foster parents, even that is an invaluable resource.
What is this training that you have to have? You have to have some kind of certification? Is that what that is?
So, yeah, we actually provide all of the training. It sort of varies. One training that we do ask every foster parent to do is a training called the Resource Parenting Curriculum. And that is a training that was, it started out from the National Traumatic Stress Network, and it was adapted at UVM's Child Welfare Training Partnership. And it's a trauma-informed parenting class for foster, kin, and adoptive parents to really provide trauma-informed care. That's like sort of one of our trainings that everybody has to do it. Myself and one of my coworkers are actually the teachers of that class. So I think that that's helpful, and that our foster parents have already let me into their home. So they're a little bit more willing to come to a class that I'm one of the teachers of.
Yeah.
And then we provide just ongoing training. We've had some foster parents do youth mental health first aid. And we try to tailor the trainings as well to the specific youth in their care. So if you are working with a youth with a specific diagnosis and you don't know a lot about it, we probably have someone at Washington County that works with us that can provide you some level of training about it.
Wow. Hello, Facebookers and YouTubers. If you're just joining us tonight on Aired Out, Erin Joslin is the resource coordinator for the Therapeutic Foster Care Program at Washington County Mental Health. We're going to chat with a couple of foster moms here in just a little bit who have an interesting take on what it's like to live this, embody this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a huge job. Sometimes I'm guessing that just going through and checking all the boxes and the parameters to make sure that it's a good match, that maybe you get everything checked off, and then realize that the particular child can't be put in a home with a dog or something like that if there's some issues there. So this is a big job.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's one thing that I love about working for Washington County and doing this through our therapeutic foster care program is that we are able to be incredibly mindful about match between child and foster home.
Sure.
And that's part of the home study process is that I do go in and answer all of the questions that I have to ask, right? There are questions that I have to ask, but I also just really go in and get to know people, like hang out with their kids if they have kids and just sort of get a feel for what they like to do and things like that, so that when we're thinking about placing a child with them, we can really make sure it's a good match. And we've mostly been pretty successful at that. Of course, you can't predict everything.
Sure.
But we've mostly been pretty successful. And the foster parents, you're right, they have the hardest job. Like I hear a lot like, oh, your job must be really hard. And it is. Like I don't want to downplay that.
Sure.
But the foster parents have the hardest job. And that's why we are committed to providing them with as much support as they need. Because without them, we couldn't, first of all, have our program, but also they are who is providing that support, like you said, 24 hours a day to these kids.
Yeah. And I love chatting with employees and the personnel from Washington County Mental Health because they're all so different and so unique in their specialty, from human resources, which we were talking about just the other day, and all the job opportunities that are there. But I'm guessing that your job also is not a Monday through Friday 9 to 5 punch in, punch out.
Not typically. Sort of, I have set hours that I work, but I also am someone who's really committed to specifically the therapeutic foster care program. And so, if I know a kid's having a hard time and I'm going to be around during the weekend or in the evening, I certainly have told foster parents, like, don't hesitate to give me a call. You're not bugging me. And our foster parents are really great about knowing, like, when it warrants an after hours or weekend call. We don't have a formal sort of crisis process or program for our foster parents, but we try to be available to them as much as humanly possible, for sure.
What's a typical day for you? Is there one?
So I'm not sure that there is one, because therapeutic foster care, while is sort of my heart in my job, there are other parts of my job that are not involved with TFC, but related to therapeutic foster care, it's, I talk to foster parents on a pretty regular basis. I also, in my office building is where all of the case managers who work within our program to provide the therapeutic case management, their offices are all in the same building as mine. So I spend a lot of time talking to the case managers about how to best support the kids and the foster parents. And sometimes when they're struggling, I step in and support them in team meetings and things like that.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. We're going to make sure that all of your information is posted into the comments here for including your website and phone number for folks to get in touch with you if they have any questions.
Great.
Outside of this, we're only chatting for a few minutes, but you're going to be back on later this month.
Yes, and later in the month, I'll be back.
All right. I look forward to it. Erin Joslin, the resource coordinator for the therapeutic foster care program at Washington County Mental Health. You're doing great work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, for coming in.
Thanks for having me on.
We appreciate it. Yeah. Let's throw the camera over to two foster moms right now who everyone knows the lady on the left there, Heather Slayton, who's frankly a rock star. And who's more of a rock star, Heather, you or the lady sitting next to you? My God, I mean, she. What's that?
Both in the same band.
You guys were in the same band?
We kind of are. Yeah.
Seriously, Amy Anderson and Heather Slayton, Amy from Amy's Armoire, who, frankly, we should have had you on the air a long time ago, Amy, long time ago. So thank you for all you do. Which
Absolutely.
is, I mean, my God, it's a laundry list a mile long what she does, Heather.
Yes. Yes.
Jeez.
Including currently supporting one of my kiddos in her vocational plan at school.
Tell me about it.
In one of her volunteer gigs. So my daughter, who we have adopted through foster care, attends a specialized school.
Okay.
Because of her autism.
Yep.
And through that school, she has a vocational plan, and she's currently volunteering for Amy at her donation center. And she is loving that job. And the fact that she can support kiddos in their vocational planning that way is just phenomenal, because it's very hard to find opportunities like that. So, yeah, the band is tight.
Yes, it is.
It's pretty amazing, and that's not something that I arranged.
Amy,
that's pretty cool.
Who's managing your social media, Amy?
Me.
Jeez.
Amy is a one-man band over there.
Well, I would not say that. I really am just in the front of this ship and have millions of people that are rowing right behind me and giving me great ideas that I happen to listen to and run with. I absolutely could not do it without my volunteers, just like your daughter. I mean, I'm glad it fills a need for her, but she is helping me as well, and it goes both ways. And we're blessed enough that we have the opportunity to not just help, special needs children who need volunteer vocational practice, but we do that for like voc rehab. We do it for the Department of Corrections, treatment court, adult basic ed, Spalding students, and just retirees like myself who want to give back to their community.
Right. Yeah, my nephew was over there last week during school break.
Thank God.
He's a tough worker.
Yeah, he
getting
is.
his graduation requirement volunteer hours met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was great.
I see everything that you're posting on, well, not everything, but I try to, and I see that you've got some postings on there for some opportunities for kids to come in and really kind of not just sit around, but really get active and get involved with your mission over there.
Absolutely. And when I take a group of students or volunteers from a church or whatever, the first thing we do is spend about 15 minutes just explaining what we do and why we do it, so that at the end of the day, when they leave there, they know they didn't just sort clothes or carry bins or
Sure.
sweep a floor. They helped, children very directly through that process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, foster moms. So let's start with Heather. What do you have? 3 kids? 4? 10? How many?
Our friends joke that we have 47 kids. We've got 3 biological,
Yep.
2 adopted through foster care, and 1 that we are in the process of adopting through foster care.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a 6.
That's 6.
How are you doing that?
By the skin of our teeth.
Is Jason still alive?
Jason is still alive and currently home with 5,
Oh, dear
feeding
Lord.
them and
Driving the bus.
being a good doobie.
Can only imagine.
It is a team effort at Slayton House.
I'm sure it is at the Slayton compound.
Yes. It's almost a commune because the oldest and her husband bought a house next door and they've got 4 kiddos of their
Nice.
own. So, yeah, we've got quite a little community going there. We never know how many are in the house because they all just run back and forth from one house to the other. So
So,
it's the perfect life. I love it.
Amy, what about you?
So we struggle to do that count for different reasons. So we have 4 that we, took in and have provided permanency for. They may not all be adopted, but we provided permanency for 4. And then we have a fresh air kid from New York City who's come up every year for the last 14 years. And we have exchange students. So, yeah, so we haven't done that exchange students for a couple of years after COVID, but that was a wonderful experience as well.
Do you have an exchange student right now?
We have nobody right now. So the only way I could do what I do is because I just have 1 special adult that is a roommate of ours who has Down syndrome, and he is the light of our lives and actually is a volunteer for our store as well. And brags that he loves going to my store to volunteer because I bribe him with coffee.
Can we drop his name?
Man after your heart.
I don't know if we can do that,
Yeah,
actually.
all right. But a rock star, though.
He's a rock star.
Yeah, he is. Big time. Big time. It's just, I'm not sure how you ladies do it. I mean, this is as if there's not enough in this world and in this life that we live where we're not busy enough, and we have so many things that occupy our minds and require our physical energy and attention, and then to take in children and just try to be the best human being that you can be.
I don't know about you, but the reason I can do it, and it sounds like you too, is I have a really strong partner at home.
Yes.
Who picks up the slack for me when I need him to, which is pretty much every day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wouldn't be doing it alone, that's for sure.
I
And
couldn't.
Jason is, and our entire lives, been 100% on board with
Yep.
anything. And especially when it comes to kids, he's, whatever they need.
Yeah.
So
Good
Yeah.
man, good father,
Definitely.
good husband.
anything I want and anything kids need.
Do you guys, so Heather, when's the last time you and Jason have cut loose for a week's
Oh
vacation?
my God.
Never alone
Yeah.
for a week?
Yeah. Ever?
Not once in our lives.
How many years you been married?
Why would you do this to me on
I don't know.
air? Is Jason watching?
No, of course not.
Oh, because he could answer that.
No, of course not. He's
I
not.
wake up every day and say, I'm still married today. Good enough.
Jason doesn't know how to figure out all this Facebook
But
stuff.
he knows the answer.
No, he doesn't.
He
doesn't know anything.
He does know the answer. I always just say I'm still married today, and that's what matters.
More,
We don't
more
count
than
either.
more than 20 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think it is 20.
All right. Right around there.
But we were in a playpen together. So,
Wow.
whatever.
That's true love right there.
We were in jail together.
Yeah, right. They were in jail together, so that's
awesome.
really deep.
Jason,
No, I think it's 20 this
Jason
year.
is watching and listening.
Oh, Jason, how long have
He
we
says
been married?
20. He says 20.
See, I told you he'd know.
So when's the
We
last
woke
time,
up married.
either.
When's the last time you two have cut loose for the Caribbean?
You're so cute.
He is.
Really? Jamaica? What-
We don't go anywhere. Was it last year? Ask him if it was last year. We went to Gloucester for like 2 nights.
Wow.
Alone?
That's nice.
Yep. And the boys texted us the entire time we were gone. So I used my GMC app in my phone to set the alarm off on my car the whole time we were gone to mess because they wouldn't stop texting me.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. That was a wild 2 nights of falling asleep early because the kids weren't there to keep us awake.
Sure.
We just kept like, yeah. Yeah.
So it's a lot of work. You're
I sent him deep sea fishing while I went to lunch with one of my girlfriends that lives down there.
yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Great
it was
quality
fun.
time together.
It was really fun, though. We had a good time.
Amy, what about
2
you?
nights.
When's the last time you've been on vacation?
I went on vacation in March of last year, I think it was. I am planning a vacation in May. I'm holding my breath that it's going to go smoothly. That I have amazing staff. And I just found out today that I do have coverage for the Saturday. But my biological father is actually coming from California to my neck of the woods for the first time, which is cool. So
Okay.
that's what I'm doing on my vacation.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the biggest question here is, I think for me, is why? Why do you do this? Why do you foster? Heather, we'll go with you.
Because somebody has to do it. So we got into it. So I've worked for Washington County, as you know, for 21 years. And just a couple of years into that, we started doing respite for adults. I started at CDS, where we serve people with intellectual and developmental delays. So I started doing respite for adults with disabilities. And in 2011, I was asked to take a youth with some developmental disabilities for a short period of time, which it's always just a little while. It's always just a little while.
Just for 2 days.
So this was their case manager specifically asked me, because of how he knew we had been raising our kids. You know, this kiddo needed structure and routine and boundaries. And so I said, sure, for a little bit. And we ended up, because he was in care, having to not just be respite or home providers, had to do the foster applications. So that's how we got started initially. That's how we got licensed. And so he stayed with us until just before he aged out, at which point he decided to go his own way.
At how old?
He was almost 18
Okay.
and decided he wanted to go back with BioMom. And that's just how that went down. And
it's
there
not
you go.
uncommon.
It's not uncommon.
And not a reflection of anything.
No,
Yeah.
and whether it was a good move or not, that is what he chose to do. So we were licensed at that point. Decided not to close the license, just in case, whatever, leave the door open, did some more adult respite, whatever. And then about, probably 6 months later, got a call from, another case manager. We have a 4-year-old with autism. Can't talk, bouncing around, homeless, and really needs to go someplace and needs somebody who knows anything at all about people with autism, anything at all about little kids with trauma, anything, basically all the things that and somebody who will love him despite all of these things. Could you take him for like 3 weeks? So that was in 2012. We adopted him in 2015. So he was 4 and now he's 15.
Wow.
That was their first adoption. And then the year we adopted him, 3 months after we adopted him, his sister, who is a year older than he is and also has autism, came to live with us.
Wow.
And so 2 years later, her adoption was finalized. And so it's just, once you've started, whether you meant to or not.
Well, then people know you're a resource.
Right. And so, we only get calls for kids with autism now. Okay. Literally the only calls we've ever gotten. We've done some respite and some childcare for other folks.
Yeah.
Especially in our town, because people know we're right there. We don't live far from our school. It's, hey, this parent's having a tough time with childcare. Can you put their kid on the bus, get them off in the afternoon? They'll come pick them up like an hour after the bus comes. They lost their daycare, whatever. So we do that. We've had some other folks who live out of town, but whose kids in their care currently attend our school. Can you pick them up until they can come get them? Or can you pick them up from sports and hang on to them for a few minutes? They're going to be late every day for a week, So we do some of that stuff. But yeah, so then, in 2021, we get another call. We've got a 4-year-old with autism and nobody, she's sleeping in the office. Everybody's scared of her. She's a little bit wild. Nobody knows what to do with her. She doesn't talk. Sadly, this was a case of she had been orphaned by an overdose, and no family members had any experience with autism or knew what to do or weren't in a position to take care of her. I said, let me ask Jason.
And that's a difference.
And he was like, what time are you picking her up?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're like, okay, I'll be right there.
And that's the difference, I think, JD, your question about how many kids are waiting, for Washington County Mental Health, they have the luxury of being, like she said, taking some time and matching people. But DCF doesn't have that luxury. There is no waiting. They need a place to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
And so they oftentimes rely on the foster parents to help them find the placement. And so that's what happened in this last case, I know. And probably in other cases, it happens all the time. We know the need and we know the specifics of the child and we know our community. And so sometimes, foster parents are cold calling their friends saying, hey, I know you're not licensed, but, there's this specific situation that I think you would be equipped to manage.
Right. So with Ethan, I got the call directly from work. With his sister, Alana, we actually went looking for her because there's this, if somebody's been placed somewhere and they've been there for over a year and your intent is not to adopt, they're likely going to move that kid again. And his sister had moved 9 times already. And I was like, yeah, she cannot tolerate constant disruption. She'll never get to a place where she can settle or even get an education or do anything because she's already got enough interference going on. And so we actively sought her out and said, she's about to make her last move. So let's make it happen. So I called DCF. I called Washington County to find the home provider. I called Lund and I said, this is it. Get it together. She's going to make her last move and it's going to be at our house. So I coordinated the entire, make this happen.
10 moves. And that's not uncommon, sadly. And that's one of the reasons we created our nonprofit, is because one of the things we can actually, as a nonprofit, control, in my opinion, and solve is the movement of children from foster home to foster home, because 30 to 50% of foster parents quit within the first year nationally. And so part of that, the reason for that, according to the research I've seen, is the lack of support for those families. And a lot of people get into it with really good intentions and really have no idea what they're getting into. Yeah. And it's not that agencies don't want to provide it. It's not there to provide. And so that's where Amy's Armoire is hoping to fill the gaps. And a lot of people think Amy's Armoire is just a thrift store, a great place to get $5 or less, which it is.
Which is true.
And it's also a revenue stream, which has then helped us to already we've been able to create a family center where I have birth parents are able to have unsupervised visits there. We're able to have community events there, educate the community on what the needs are in that location. And we have a huge donation center where we collect and sort clothing. It's like 3,000 square feet. And the hour before I came here, I had 3 separate foster parents calling me to access that area. They needed cribs, pack and plays, clothes, baby stuff or whatever. And, here I am driving down the road and taking the call. And then I can tell them, yep, just go to the door. And when you get there, give me a call and I can unlock it with my phone because I've created that digital thing. And then I have 3 storage units in 3 different districts that have beds, dressers, toddler beds. So far, we have Chittenden County, Lamoille County, and Williamstown is the other location we have one. And so you might not know you're getting a sibling group of 3 at midnight, and you have 1 full-size bed, and that's not what you were ready for.
Yeah.
So I told the lady today, don't worry, just call me when the need comes. We don't have to prepare for every situation because we're prepared for every situation.
Right.
And what we don't have, we post on the Facebook page and ask the community, and they produce repeatedly for us,
and
which is amazing.
Also gives me a space to funnel programs that Washington County has available for free to people. So when we have children's groups running, like right now, we've got a photography class that's happening, any kind of after school activities or things, then I can funnel flyers over to Amy.
My favorite is the Wednesdays wellness thing.
I know.
And I have partaken, and yes, it's great.
It's lovely. And so I can funnel it, and she can post it in the store and at the
Facebook pages
over there or Facebook. And so all of the families that come Amy's way that might not see our stuff anywhere else can see it there. And so they can all take advantage of that stuff too.
Heather, did you know Amy before she started all this, Amy Somewhere?
So, it's funny. Not until our newest kiddo came.
Okay.
And so when I got that call, that was the one call that I got. So Linda Kuchar, who I've known my entire life, her parents and my
Watches
grandparents.
every day.
Yep. Her parents and my grandparents were besties.
Okay.
When I was growing up, hanging out at my grandparents' all summer and every weekend, right next door to her parents.
Okay.
And she and Nancy Benoit taught the classes that Jason and I took 10, 11 years ago.
Okay.
And she is the one who called for the youngest and said, I know your license is closed, but like, okay. It's always an August phone call about a 4-year-old with autism, right? We're like, okay, sure. So, yeah.
That's how our paths ended up crossing at that time.
And so the little one that we have now and her older sister had already been through the store and done stuff. And so I said, I got to go check this place out, because the person that the sister was with at that time had already been through, and I don't know. I can't remember what happened. They had a voucher or something.
They had a voucher, but
they
they also were brand new foster parents, and they had been left with more children than could fit in their car, actually.
Yeah.
And I switched cars, and we gave them our SUV until they got that resolved.
Because, man, and she also works for us.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so I went and met her, and that was when she was still behind the barber. Over in the Soups complex.
Yeah, we've been blessed enough to expand twice now in less than 2 years.
Oh my God, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, we started.
I was super excited when she was moving.
That was a horrible little tiny hole in the wall, but just what we needed to get started.
Yes.
800 square feet. Now we're at that other one.
So I'm
that's
super grateful to now have a wonderful relationship.
Yeah.
I'd love to see you, Amy, in a huge building, like the whole building.
I know.
Like
Like
a
an Ames
second
sized.
floor and a third floor.
Yeah, no, I can't. No.
And an elevator.
Oh my gosh. No, I can tell you though, the next thing I'm working on, which it almost blows my head off because I don't know how I could manage another thing, but is I want to create, this is like literally the reason I started this, is I had spent 7 months with the last kiddo that was in my house, convincing him I wouldn't give up on him.
Yeah.
And then at
Wow.
the end of the day, the system itself made me a liar to that kid because he continued to get kicked out of school, and I needed to keep my day job, and teenagers are too old for daycare, and need supervision oftentimes when they come to us because they, might have issues that need watching. And so, we tried multiple things. And so at the end of the day, he had to go home sooner than we were all prepared for. There was a couple more months of prepping the parents to be fully ready and making sure everything was in place. And at the end of the day, he felt abandoned by me, which is he came in abandoned by his parent. And so I said I couldn't do it until I can create support so that nobody has to feel that feeling again. And so my next goal is to create a day program, summer program for teenagers. I'm actually looking at a spot, but I don't know. I feel like I need about $60,000 more to feel like I can sign a lease that's that lengthy.
Yeah.
It's a big step, but a day program for teenagers would be huge in the summer, especially because a lot of our foster parents are working people, and these children have trauma, and to have trauma means that you have things that you're still working through. And if we had a place that they could go and somebody's taking them on a hike and a bike and a snowshoe and going to the beach, and
It's a win-win for everybody.
everybody,
Yes.
because this is the reason. I mean, I just retired from corrections, and the vast majority of people in our jail systems and the correctional system came from foster care. Now, the majority of foster kids don't end up necessarily in jail, but the reverse is true.
Yeah.
And the statistics do say if you've moved over 5 times, 90% chance of landing there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my goal and the goal of my husband when we started doing it was to stop kids landing from there, get the people sooner so they don't end up incarcerated. And then obviously, you can help more people doing it this way. And also I started out my life in the orphanage in Burlington, St. Joseph's Orphanage. So it's near and dear to my heart to foster and adopt for that reason. And it's personal for my husband's family as well. But that's his story to tell.
It seems like it almost kind of has to be personal, maybe not, to be this much invested in something like this. I mean, you're essentially giving of your life, of your time, of all of your energy, hope, love. I mean, you have to have room in your house. You have to have more room in your heart. It seems like.
Yeah, and you have to have tolerance. Like I don't know about you, but I had this little Pollyanna thought that it was just like you provide structure and love, and these
They'll be so
children will just heal, and they'll be grateful and appreciative. Like, no, that does not ever happen.
Right.
Well, that's
maybe
not
when they're
natural for
older.
any kids.
When they're older, maybe. I've had a person actually a couple of kids knock on my door about 15 years after the fact, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But in the moment, it's hard to come by, and you really have to tolerate a lot from the children and the birth parents who really maybe don't understand that you're here to be a support for them. You're not here to take their children. At least that's how I communicate to them. Sometimes, obviously, that's not possible. But even if we end up adopting, my goal has always been to reconnect kids to their biological roots, because it's really important.
Most gravitate toward that.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
the first goal of foster care is reunification. It is
Absolutely.
to help rebuild families.
Exactly.
Right.
No matter where they are, whether you're straight working through DCF, whether Washington County Mental Health is helping to facilitate foster homes through DCF,
Yeah.
because that is what we're doing at Washington County. We don't have a separate foster care program. We are working in tandem with DCF,
Yeah.
with kiddos that need our care and support. We're working to support those foster placements that DCF also has a piece of. So it's not a separate foster system. We're just there supporting it, and providing that extra training and the extra support. So they're the same kids.
It's just
They're just
augmenting the
kids that have
services.
extra
Yep.
needs.
And that's been a blessing in our program as well, that
Right. We
I
can support more placements.
planned to, out of the gate, support foster, adopt, and kin families. And I wanted to support birth parents, but I didn't know I'd have access to them. And surprisingly, just having the storefront, they are finding us.
Yeah.
And they're finding us more often than the foster parents are, actually.
Right.
They're walking in my door and saying, hey, I heard that you can help me. I'm going to be getting my kids back and I need beds for them and I need this or that. And we're able to do that equally the same as we are for foster parents. And it's been wonderful.
Yep.
So
because nobody wants to take somebody's kids away. We want to help people be better at parenting.
Sure.
Mentor and support.
I mean, because, kids love their parents no matter why or how they became involved in the foster care system. A child's first love is their parent.
Yeah.
And that there's no reason for that to not be true.
Sure.
Or for any of us to try to get in the way of that. We all sign up knowing full well that our job is to try to help to repair that situation.
And the best situation is a reunification you feel really good about. And then, you get a knock at the door and it's, a birth dad walking in all excited because his kid just graduated high school. He got full guardianship or full custody back and invites us to the graduation. Yeah. It's just awesome.
Right. And when they feel like they can reach out to you later down the road when they need something and they know that you were truly supportive of them, and they now can reach out and say, hey, I could use a little bit of help right now. And I trust you to be the person who really cared enough that you'll support me now.
Absolutely.
And support my kid.
There's a lot of head here, but there's also a lot of heart too.
Yeah.
And there's trying to find a balance between the two with fostering it's got to be at times quite the emotional roller coaster, I'm guessing.
Well, and for your biological kids too.
Yes.
Because, 1 minute there's somebody invading their space.
Sure.
1 minute there
Their
might not
attention.
be their attention, but then all of a sudden could be the loss of this person they let into their life too.
Good point.
So, they've grown to love this kid that then goes away.
Right.
Or they haven't, but they're stuck there forever now. So, lots of different sides. I've been blessed. Jason and I have been blessed with kids that are super supportive and work really hard to help the other kiddos
Sure.
to learn things that they need and want to learn and to help improve their lives.
It's important for extended family to be supportive too, and that's
It's nice
a
when they can
challenge.
be.
Yes.
It's a challenge, and it's not
Yeah.
always there. And it's
Yeah.
sometimes you're educating not only the community, the schools, but your own family, your police officers, or
Yes.
Both of you, I've chatted with about having guests on to talk about fostering and being a foster parent, and both of you multiple times have said Nancy Benoit.
Yes.
She's with us on the line right now, but what a rock star. My God.
Yes.
absolutely.
Yep.
Nancy, are you with us?
I am. Here I am, JD.
Listen, we love you to pieces. Every time I see you, it seems like you've got another foster kid or two more.
Well, at this point, JD, actually, about a year ago, I actually gave up my foster care license, unfortunately, but it was what needed to happen. We're the adoptive parents now of 7. We've adopted 7. We're the parents of 9, and carrying a license, foster parents are held to higher standards, and anytime that any of our children are disgruntled, then they can initiate an allegation, and then we go through the reporting process and the investigative process. And so we had a teenager in our home who was becoming an adult who was making some allegations, and it was really wreaking havoc with all of our other kids, just because kids worry about, is DCF going to take us away from our adoptive parents? What's going to happen to us? Are we really here permanently? So we haven't had foster children in the last year or so, but we are like I said, biological and adoptive parents of 9 total. And so we're still committed to supporting families in the community and continuing to support people in our network, but not technically foster parents. But I think once you're a foster parent, then you're always a foster parent at heart.
Yeah.
When I connect with other families who have kiddos who are not involved with DCF, but who have kiddos who are struggling, I'm reaching out and providing support to them as well, and support to their kiddos when they need it. So, some informal respite of local kids, some of those kinds of things. So it's good. It's kind of how that works. And, we've had a license for foster care for 20 years. So from 2000 when we got emergency license to 2022. So it was a long spin.
Yeah, last night I had a battle with Lily about, and Sherilyn was in the battle too. It was 2 of us against Lily about Brussels sprouts, and it was brutal. I mean, it was just you would have thought all hell was breaking loose at our place. I'm not sure how, and that's one kid. I'm not sure how you guys, all 3 of you. I'm not sure how you do it. And Nancy, your husband is, man, he walks on water, flat out.
He would be happy to hear
Don't
you
let
say
him hear that.
I know. I was like, man, I'm not on speakerphone.
Yeah, but
so.
seriously,
Ed does
though.
not need that information.
No.
Well, I know, but I mean, my gosh, you can't just go find some guy who's willing to take on a life like this, Nancy.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, and he jumps in. He certainly has a dad's perspective. So he jumps in and does what needs to be done, and it's really a team effort because we couldn't do it without each other, and especially for the number of children we have, but also without our network. Which is really important, which really speaks to, the mission that Amy has with Amy's Armoire, and just supporting foster parents and providing places for connection, all those things, because it definitely takes a village. There's no 2 ways about it.
Why, Nancy, are you, and why have you, over the years here, decades, been so passionate about this?
Well, I think, JD, the thing for me was that when we first started doing foster care, I was working for the Family Center, and I was in the DCF office. That's where my desk was. I wasn't employed by DCF. It was SRS at the time, but I was in the office, and I was helping foster families find childcare. So I was doing the childcare subsidy specialist and helping them to work through some of those kinds of things and the paperwork and stuff that went with it. And what I realized was that there were a lot of kids in need right here in our community. And at the time that I left DCF to go teach in the public school, it was one of those things where it was a Friday night. There was a child that came into care that I had happened to know when they were 5, because I worked for Head Start for a chunk of time. And, they were trying to figure out where they were going to place her. And so the journey began for us. We got emergency placement and emergency training and all those pieces. And then it became clear that that was a really good way to help families. Like, I could help families by engaging with them, and, with the goal being reunification, all those pieces. And so that was the plan. And I remember Joan Rock, who was one of the resource coordinators at the time, and she said,
I remember Joan.
you'll adopt. And I said, Joan, you're not, as a typical preschool teacher, Joan, you're not listening to my words. Like, we are not planning to adopt. Like, that was not the plan at all.
Yeah, us either.
We were going to be the parent of two kids, and we had two biological children. That was a permanent decision, and that wasn't our plan. And so, going into it, I think I was really thinking about the way to work with families in our community who are struggling, kids needing a safe place, being at the school. Lots of kids knew me, even if they weren't kids that I knew or were connected to. So I could provide that kind of safe transition. And I'm very straightforward and upfront, letting families know, yep, I'm a foster parent. If you're involved with DCF, then you're likely to see me around. I never hid that. I was always upfront with families, and found that families really respected that and were connected in that way. So I was really able to really work with families, being, not judgmental, understanding about the system somewhat as best you can understand it, and really trying to really support families and parenting. And I also have an early childhood background. So the children primarily that were being placed with me were developmentally in the range of the preschoolers, that I know a lot about development of kids, in the 5 to 10 range or the 3 to 10 range. So it really allowed me to really be able to use my skills to help support families in the community. And, one thing leads to another, and then we adopted. And so then we had 13 years between our youngest biological child and our first child that we adopted. And we're like, well, if we're going to have one child that age, we might as well have another. And I think in a lot of ways, the universe really aligned in that way, and brought to us the children that needed to be with us. And so here we are, 20 years later, the parent of 9 children. So
did you find yourself all of a sudden having to take in a baby, and next thing you know, you're changing a diaper?
Well, the thing for us was that like I said, when we started, it was not our intention to adopt. So we were not foster parents hoping to adopt. So they would often call us for babies. And my agreement with Ed was that for 2 weeks, I could make any decision that was going to cover 2 weeks independently. And so, they would often place babies with us because the goal was to get these babies home to their families. And so so that was, as much as it's hard when babies leave because kind of you get into a rhythm, but that was the intention, and we were not intending to adopt. So, it was hard. It certainly was hard to have babies go. But yeah, so back to diapers and being up, multiple times in the night. But the other thing I realized, though, that I wasn't postpartum, so that made it a lot easier. And that was the kind of the silver lining, was that I wasn't, I had not just given birth to this baby, so it made it a little easier to manage, the ups and downs of those first days when they're a newborn. So, but yeah, we had kids under the age of 2 for 5 straight years. Which is a lot. It's a lot to have a baby that doesn't, babies that don't grow up pretty much, one and then the other.
And I'll say this, Nancy, and I hope Ed is listening. I've seen you within the last couple of years. For whatever reason, you're not really aging. Surprisingly, I mean, you look great. Seriously, I mean, it seems would make someone age very, very, very quickly. But you look great.
Well,
We don't have time to age.
What's that?
We don't have time to age
No,
with all these kids. We have to keep up.
You really don't.
You do, definitely. And I've got you on speakerphone, JD, so now Ed can hear.
Yeah, Ed, you've got a real gem there. You really do. The two of you, it's just so impressive. And we've Heather knows. I mean, we've talked about foster care in Vermont in the past here on Aired Out, and the name Nancy Benoit seems to come up pretty frequently. What a rock star, though, Heather, isn't she? Though she's amazing. Nancy, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys and everything that you have done in the past and continue to do. It's just wonderful people. So how do people, jumping back to you, Heather, how just to kind of circle back here, how can folks learn about fostering or doing respite for children right here in Washington County through Washington County Mental Health? Get in touch with Erin Joslin, I think is...
Yeah, so I would just remind people that there are over 1,000 kids currently in foster care, and there are probably, almost daily more coming into the system.
Wait a second, statewide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Statewide. So I would go to dcf.vermont.gov and look for the foster tab on that page.
Okay.
Or you can go to our www.wcmhs.org.
Yeah.
And under the What We Do tab, look for the Children, Youth, and Family Services division.
Okay.
And under Community and Home-Based Services, you can find the Therapeutic Foster Care Program.
All right.
Or you could just email erin.joslin@wcmhs.org.
Putting that in right in the comments right now.
And that way, whether you're interested in becoming a therapeutic foster care program provider or a respite provider, you can reach directly out to her and talk about that and get details. Or you can email me about anything agency related, and I can send you directly to the person.
Who helps out with food and clothes and backpacks and a new laptop and all that stuff that the child might need?
Through us?
Yes.
Or, well...
anyone.
So if you reach out to us, there's a good chance I'm going to put you in contact with Amy.
Okay.
At Amy's Armoire.
Yep. Not surprised.
So, actually, I want to say, what's today, Monday? Mm-hmm. I want to say on Friday, an email went out agency-wide. Somebody was looking for a bed for a kiddo in one of our programs. And I said, hey, have you called Amy yet? And she was like, no. And I said, well, you should.
Got her on speed dial?
So she may have contacted you.
I don't think so.
Oh, she's going to.
Okay.
Because it is potentially a kid in care that we serve. So I said, oh, call Amy. She might have one.
Yeah. I mean, here's where the community is great, right? Like we got 45 twin mattresses donated by Sugar Bush. Wow. Not Sugar Bush. Yeah, Sugar Bush.
Yeah.
When they they get new ones they have to do it every 2 or 3 years or something.
Yeah.
So a foster parent and I actually took that mountain road with our trailer on the back, borrowed from Tetros Appliances, and loaded it up. And I went back with my husband another day and got more. But yeah, I was handing out mattresses to families all the way as far as Rutland, because we support foster adopt kin statewide.
We have to shine some love on Mark Tetro.
We do.
Oh, lots of it.
Go. You go first. I'll go last.
Well, I would not even have my donation center had it not been for Mark Tetro. Amen.
Yeah.
And
he is amazing.
He is amazing, and he just continues to support us in any way he can. So it's just he's my go-to man. And the other thing I want to say, JD, before we get off, is just because it is National Foster Care Appreciation and Awareness Month, Amy's Armoire is doing huge giveaways this month to foster and adopt kin families statewide. So any foster adopt kin families across the state that are listening, they can go to Amy's Armoire .org and register at the bottom of the homepage. And we have a Facebook group I created just for this population called Amy's with an apostrophe giveaways for kin, foster, and adoptive families. And we have an amazing boatload of things that are coming our way. We've got J Peak, a family of 4 their water park. Smugs has got a family of 4 daycation thing. We've got $200 eBay cards. We've got $200 for enrichment activities. We have 4 of those. We have punch cards to state parks, brand new bike that's $200 in value from the bicycle shop next door. We have a $200 necklace from Hanash Jewelers. We've got
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We've got a $150 carpet cleaning from Troy West Carpet Cleaning. We have karate from Valeri's for free, and we have a 60-minute therapeutic riding lesson from Better Days Ranch in Bridgeport. We've got an hour massage to a place of your choosing, Visa gift cards. So I'm just encouraged. Oh, and Airbnbs. People are giving me weekend getaways for foster parents because, as we just noted, it is a lot of work, and there's a few times that you actually get a chance to get away without children. So
Somebody should drop Nancy Benoit's name in the hat.
Yeah.
Just saying.
All she's got to do is get on
she
register.
is. She's registered and she's on my Facebook page. So we're going to start doing some drawings. There's no membership fee. You just join, and then we're going to be doing those live drawings in that group that's just for us, so that, not everybody has to know who these families are, but we will.
Jason's probably hoping right now that I registered, because that, if we get that Airbnb weekend, that'll be the second time in 20 years that we've done anything without kids.
So what's Jason doing right now? He's watching this podcast and at the same time
Managing the 5 kids.
saying, "Stop jumping on the couch!"
Right.
Harley's probably sitting right in his lap watching with him.
All right. This is
She's
unbelievable.
probably laughing now because you yelled. She's probably like,
So, just to wrap up here, you guys, all of you, and so many unsung heroes. There's so many foster parents in Vermont watching, listening,
There is.
that that we don't necessarily know about, who are just,
Plugging away day to day.
man.
And if you're new and you're having a hard time, hang in there.
Reach out
Join
and
one of the
call me.
Facebook groups and commiserate with the rest of us. Get
Yeah.
support. Go to the online meetings.
I think you
Just-
should have like a wine drinking club.
But
It's
we
funny
have
you
so
say-
many kids
it's
to be
funny you
responsible
say that,
for.
JD. One more thing I forgot to mention is Lawson's Finest has put Amy's Armoire on tap for May 1st to May 15th. So if you go to Lawson's and you partake, at Lawson's Finest, any donation that you make during that time will come to Amy's Armoire. I actually was there before I came here because I was sticking pinwheels outside their location, one for every child in Barry District Office who's in foster care. So there's 113 kids in foster care. So if you drive by Lawson's and see all those purple pinwheels, each one of those represents a Barry District foster kid.
Which Lawson's location?
The Waitsfield, the plant.
Waitsfield.
Yep.
Right there.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You guys, all of you must fall asleep so fast.
I get a few hours
we
of
don't
sleep.
sleep.
Yeah, no.
Who has time for sleep?
No.
We work full time and
Mocha Fraps, that's our
Yeah.
friend.
black coffee with 3 shots of espresso.
Listen-
That's my friend.
Amy, when you started this,
Mm-hmm.
you were the talk of the town. You still are.
Yes.
Yay!
You still
Thank
are.
goodness.
Heather, it's true. It's
It's got
everyone's-
to be, because how else is everybody going to know that she's there? It's hard to take advantage of a resource that you don't know exists.
Well, and I think the thing is everybody gets on board with the mission. When you walk into our store, they know it's not just theory. They can walk around and see the faces of actual Vermont children waiting for adoptive homes because we hold the Heart Gallery in our store, or part of it,
Yep.
from Project Family. We partner strongly with VCAP, Vermont Kinnis Parents, and Project Family to bring resources to families. We try not to recreate the wheel. We're in deep partnership with every organization like Washington County Mental Health that is out there that we can be. But again, we are 100% volunteer run. Nobody in our whole organization gets salary or pay at all. I'm not even allowed to give them clothes free. The labor department says we have to have workman's comp, so we don't even do that.
Right.
wow.
Yeah. So everybody volunteers and gives their time like unbelievably.
Yeah.
We are so grateful. And we could always use more volunteers.
Right.
And it doesn't even have to be, you don't even have to live in Barrie. Like, there are things that people can do in all parts of the state that could help me. Administrative stuff I really struggle with. Making phone calls to get things like these giveaways. That I just pulled that together in 4 days, that list, because I reached out to about 5 people and they ran with it.
I think the part of the reason why it's taken so long to get you on the air,
Yes.
Amy, it's just you're
This is true.
this is it's pretty obvious here. I mean, you're just going in a million directions.
Busier than a
Yeah.
one-arm wallpaper hanger, as my
Yes,
husband would say.
I know.
Really,
I've been all night trying to remember that. I'm so glad you just said it.
but please come in. I mean, Raylene is constantly watching your page, and
Nice.
anything that you are doing, she gets the notification, and she's sharing the crap out of it on Aired Out. But
Awesome.
please come in here anytime. I mean,
And a shout out to last time around Antiques too for letting us use their space right now for free. We have prom dresses in there, so if people need a prom dress, they still need to come in. And
everything you did with the whole prom dress thing is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
again, the community. You know, I couldn't do any of this without a community behind
Right. People
us.
have to donate the dresses in order for her to be able to offer them up
And
to begin
Yeah.
with, and then
I
people
hope
offering a storefront. And
I hope city government is dialed into you as they should be and aware of all of the great things that you're bringing to our community. I hope that media, TV media, is giving you as much love as and attention as you deserve. I mean, what you're doing is just remarkable.
it is.
It's remarkable.
And a shout out to all the staff at Washington County Mental Health and DCF, because, you know, it is a tough job. It is a tough job that you're reading affidavits that are heart-wrenching. You're
Sure.
dealing with things every day that are really, really difficult. And it does wear on a person. And one of the things we try to do too is give free yoga to caregivers, including social worker staff and stuff like that. So, and the Wellness Wednesday I take part in at Washington County Mental Health, because it's a godsend to be able to go in and get a massage or get Reiki for free.
I would love
We've
to
got
do
2 weeks
this.
left.
Yeah, that's right. Two more Wednesdays.
2 Wednesdays left, and then we'll see everybody again in September.
Nice.
This coming Wednesday and
This-
then next Wednesday.
Yes. Yep.
All right.
The 3rd and the 10th.
I'd love to come and do the yoga. I mean, I'll get the spandex out again. Come and do
Oh,
that. Why not?
goody.
Why
Be in the
why
back
not?
of the class, JD, please.
Why not?
So, Amy, you guys, so you've done the free prom dress?
We gave
For
yes, we did
Foster.
and now it's just open to the public,
Okay.
and they're $20 each.
$20 for prom dresses at Amy's Armoire. So
Yep.
if you're still looking for your prom dress, no matter where you are in the state, come on down for $20.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah, I had somebody from White River came the other day and found one.
You can't get a better deal
Yeah.
than $20.
And what are your hours over at Amy's Armoire, right here on North Main Street?
So the store hours are Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 6, and Saturday, 10 to 2. And then the prom dresses are by appointment. And the donation center at 74 South Main Street, not the store, is 10 to 2 on Saturdays. And then if that does not work, let me know, because we can work another plan out.
And then you're sleeping all day on Sunday and Monday.
I do actually sleep a ton on Sundays if I'm lucky.
And then if you follow the annex to Amy's Armoire,
Oh, yes. Thank
Yeah.
you for saying that.
then you can, I'm looking at my bidding winning, then you can bid on auction items. So sometimes when things come in that are especially wonderful, that are donated,
Yep.
then they get put up for auction to raise even more money.
Yeah, we have anything that's
For the cause.
$40 or more value, we try to snag over into the auction group, because it brings in people who don't
Sure.
necessarily shop in a thrift store.
Yeah.
And they're sitting at home and they're like, oh, I actually like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a Milwaukee heated jacket with tags still on it, and it was like a $300 jacket, went for $90. But I just had some recent stuff, like a Coach purse the last week went for $14 or $25, and something else.
I've gotten a lot of stuff.
$140 router, brand new in the box, went for $14.
Yeah.
Like, people can get great deals. Annex to Amy's Armoire. You got to be local because we don't mail anything. I will bring stuff to Waterbury and Williston, but that's it.
But it's a good deal.
It's good deals.
Yeah. I've gotten a lot of stuff with tags on there. I bid a little higher.
Yeah, I know you do.
I bet, yeah. Because I get the mission of it, but I'm also spending less than what it would cost.
Right. Sure.
But
Win for everyone.
It is a win.
It is. It really is.
No matter what I'm spending, it's a win. I'm not spending $10 on stuff because I want to. The point is to raise money,
sure.
But
the other awesome thing, and I just remembered, that was started by customers in their store, actually. I had this woman come in and she bought $70 worth of stuff, and she said, hey, I want to give an extra $20 for somebody who needs it. And I said, well, I'm so glad you said that, because 2 customers prior to you, I had a couple who was living in a hotel and they just had a new baby, and they're getting their other 2 kids back and they really struggle. So I let them both run a tab. We allow anybody to run a tab up to $25 in our store. So I allowed both of the parents to do that. And I said, so that'll be great. I can put that toward their tab. The next person offered 20, the next person offered 15. And before you knew it, the community, I posted a thank you to the people for that. The community paid off $700 worth of tabs that we had going that I probably wasn't going to ever get the money for. And then since then, we started a pay it forward thing, so people can just buy a gift certificate. They're right on the counter. People come in and they don't have clothes, they can get clothes through the pay it forwards from the community. Yeah. We take vouchers too from the Good Samaritan or shelters, the domestic violence programs, churches that will send somebody over with a voucher, and then we give them a discount on top of that. So, and anybody who has a fire, they can come and get all the clothes they need for free.
Yeah. I went in one day with somebody who had a fire, probably like a year and a half ago or something. And I found the family on Facebook. Somebody had put up a post about their house being on fire, and they had a teenager that wouldn't go back to school. She had no clothes, she had no school supplies, nothing. And I knew the family, and I said, look, meet me down here. I know there will be stuff in the right size and the right age and whatever. Meet me down there and I'll come buy her stuff.
Yep.
And I went in there to buy the stuff, and Amy wouldn't let me pay for it.
I think you made a donation anyway, though.
Oh, I made a donation.
And it was plus size stuff.
Then I went to
like
Brave, and Rebecca gave her stuff for free too.
And people don't realize that we do have plus size stuff. So it was wonderful that we had
I knew
enough things. Yeah, but a lot of thrift stores don't stock plus size stuff, and we do, and so it goes very quickly when it comes in. So anybody has donations size 3X and down, we do take it.
Yep. But I had made sure before I got a hold of them, I'm like, hey, Amy, what do you have in this size? And she snagged stuff right off the racks first. So that was helpful.
Amy, you are the brainchild of something that is just massive.
Yes.
It's massive. And it's growing, which is kind of scary. I mean,
it is.
You're really onto something here.
It's doing so much good.
I know. It's amazing. Our community loves you, thanks you, is blessed by you, by the hour. By the hour. I mean, for everything you do. And Heather, you know how I feel about you. You're incredible. Incredible.
It's mutual, buddy.
Are you? Are we going to have you in here Thursday? Are you coming in Thursday?
I am.
This coming. All right. All right.
Yeah, I'm coming in Thursday with the director of our intensive care services.
Okay.
To talk about our new suicide prevention cards.
Yes. I see that right here. I see them everywhere.
Good. You're going to see them in a lot more everywheres pretty soon.
Well, tomorrow morning we're going to be talking about Bikers for Beth. We've got Randy. I think Randy
Desiree
Tucker's
just
coming in
bought her
here.
Tickets.
Great.
To come up from North Carolina.
And I'm pretty sure Donna's going to be with her.
Nice.
Be with him. Donna Portress.
With Randy. Yep.
So yeah.
Thank you. Or is it
Cindy? Cindy. It is. It is. There's everyone from Bikers for Beth is getting microphone time here. They're aired out.
Nice.
Thank you, Amy Anderson. Thank you, Heather Slayton, Erin Joslin from Washington County Mental Health, Nancy Benoit. We appreciate all of you so much. And again, we've got some information on there if you want to learn how you can get involved and help out and be a foster parent, even if it's a respite situation. The need is tremendous right now in the state of Vermont. We appreciate you so much for coming on camera and microphone and sharing your stories. And
Appreciate you having us.
all of you. May 1st, yes, Foster Month nationally, and we're going to be talking about it a lot more. When's Erin going to be coming on? Do we know again?
The fourth Thursdays?
All right.
Thursday, so is it like the 25th maybe?
Something like that. Yeah, towards the end of the month.
Yes.
All right. Thank you again.
wait. Karen's next Thursday. Not this Thursday.
Erin.
Yeah, Karen is next Thursday, and then Erin is the last Thursday.
All right. So I don't even know the schedule. You and Raylene know it. But I can't.
Yeah, I know.
I can't wait. I look forward to chatting with all of you. Thank you again so much, ladies, for coming in.
Thanks so much.
Thanks,
for having
JD.
us.